We can take our carbide probe, clean any dirt or any loose glass that's in the area here of the pit. Want to attach our 2 1/4 inch round mirror. A little moisture on the cup will help it hold on. And if you're working way out in the center of the glass, tilt the mirror so you're looking down and then up underneath our equipment that we're going to be placing on the top. And if you're working over to the edge of the glass, you can leave the mirror more straight up so your eyes will look down and then back up behind. Next, we'll attach the holding device to the windshield. It consists of the black knob, the arm, and the suction cup. We need to spray a little moisture on the bottom of this vacuum cup. Just use your cleaning solution, spread it around, take it over, and as you push down on the black knob, lift up on the vacuum cup. This will allow all the air to escape out from underneath the cup. Let the side of the cup down. We can loosen the black knob and adjust over the brake. Line it up, tighten the black knob down. We then take our barrel of our resin pump and spin it down, and when it gets about to touch the glass, again center right over the pit, using the mirror to help you. This might be a little difficult the first few times, but after you do a few breaks, you'll be able to center it right over the pit. Now we'll tighten the barrel down to get the proper tension on the glass. And this little arm that sticks out here is called the vacuum port. If you leave it down and you're on a school bus or something that has glass that's straight up and down, the resin may tend to run out. So always have the vacuum port to the high side. Now if you happen to be attaching the holding device with the resin pump extending down from the arm, say you're going to your second break or third break of the day, loosen the black knob, and this will allow us to push the cup down far enough to squeeze the air out from underneath the cup. Again, the key to using this device is getting all the air out from underneath. So we've got the resin pump sticking down from the arm. We come over to the brake. We still have some moisture underneath. Pushing down on the black knob, lifting up on the cup, letting the cup down, adjusting over the brake, tighten the black knob down to the proper tension that you want to get on the glass. And now we're ready to go. If you happen to be on a windshield that has a lot of curve to it, say some of the truck windshields, to keep the resin pump straight up and down to the glass, which will mean the seal down here in the bottom will be flat all the way around, all we have to do is mount to the bottom below the brake, or we can come up and mount on the top of the brake, and this will keep the seal flat to the glass. Also notice that with this arm on here, you can reach right over to the edge of a glass. In any place there's a break in that windshield, you'll be able to get your holding device. If you do mount above the brake, then it's best to use our vacuum cup sealant. This is just a gel to take and put on the bottom of the cup, because it won't run out like water would and get down in the brake. Because as you can see, some of the water coming out and down from where we used it on the side. Most of the time though, you'll be able just to spray a little moisture on the cup, place it to the far side of you, position over the brake, tighten it down, and we're ready to go. It's that easy. The reason we place it to the far side of us is we have to get in here and see what's going on, And then on some brakes we have to get in here and actually work on some of the cracks and stuff coming out from them. So you have to be able to access your brake through this area. So place the holding device away from you. Let you see through here. Okay, now we're going to use our UV screen. And our UV screen totally blocks off all the UV light. And it needs to do this because the resins will set up whenever they're exposed to sunlight or any type of UV light. So we can place a little moisture on our little 1-inch cups. Place the UV screen on the glass, and now we can work underneath here, and UV light will not hit our resin until we're ready for it to. Now sometimes if I'm out working, I like to take a paper towel that I've been using to clean the glass, and I tuck it around here like so, and this keeps the sunlight from bouncing off the car beside me, coming underneath and getting on my brake and starting to cure it up before I'm ready. If the sun is coming down at this angle, and whenever you lift this up to work on the brake, block the sun off with your body, then you can pull off and work on the brake. Now, just so we'll be able to see better, we're going to go ahead and remove this and get it out of the way. But again, this is your UV screen. You must use it, or the resin will cure ready for it to cure. Okay, next we're going to load the plunger, cam lock, and rod of our resin pump assembly. To do this, we're going to use a pipette. Now, I'll show you later how to load the plunger using a 1/2 ounce bottle. But we'll just place the pipette down in the plunger, pull the rod down, and squeeze the pipette, and as you squeeze the pipette, pull the rod down. If you get any air trapped in the top of the plunger here, just hit it back and forth with the pipette and it'll work out, and you can make a solid column of resin. Normally we pull the rod down just so it disappears behind the threads. You can see through this section. Place it into our barrel of our resin pump, and we run the plunger down to approximately 3/8 of an inch above the barrel. Again, remember that I would be working underneath my UV screen. Okay, next we're going to attach our vacuum pump. And any type of handheld vacuum pump will work. All you have to do, and I'll turn the vacuum port over just a little bit so you can see, is attach your hose to the vacuum port. Don't place it on very far. It'll make it difficult to take off. And pump up as strong as vacuum as you can get using your pump. What we've done here, if you remember back to that drawing, we have air down in this brake, and that's what you see when you look through the brake, is that air space. So with the vacuum pump, we've tried to pull all the air out of this brake that we can get out, get it up, and get it into our vacuum pump before we ever let resin touch that brake. Now we're going to push the rod down, push resin on the glass, and when we shut the vacuum source off, air is going to enter the top of the brake, get above the resin. We have vacuum in the brake down below the resin, and that will pull the resin down, and the air pressure above will shove the resin down into the spaces of that brake. Now when we look through our mirror here, we watch the brake fill up, and whenever the resin quits flowing, we're going to go ahead and pump up the vacuum pump another time. If we see air moving over to the brake and coming up the pit, Watch it. If it's doing what we want it to do, set and let it happen. If there's no air moving over, then we're going to shut the vacuum source off, let air pressure again go in the top of the resin pump. The vacuum that we were able to maintain through the resin down below help pull the resin into the brake. And we'll try it one more time. Now, as long as we were gaining, and by that I mean the resin was flowing out into the brake, we would continue pumping this up 3, 4, 6 times. Every time you pump it up and let the air pressure back in, the resin went out farther and farther into that brake, continue doing it. If after a couple times that you're not gaining anymore, then we're going to have to go down and go under pressure to finish the brake. So we'll take our vacuum pump, we'll place it over here, get it out of our way. Now we take the plunger and we move it down till it's within 3/16 of an inch of the barrel. We also watch in our mirror to see if the tip, as we refer to the seal down here, starts to swell, or we see the resin start to flow out. And when we get our plunger down to within 3/16 of an inch here, we're now ready to create pressure. And to create our pressure, we will push the rod down very, very gently. And on a hot windshield, you want to use light pressures. On a colder windshield, you can use a little heavier pressures. But again, once you see the resin start to flow in your mirror, that's all the pressure you want. Again, use it very lightly. We've got pressure belt. We're going to twist the cam lock. That's this part right here. We turn it 1/4 of a turn and it locks the pump down, and we're under our pressure cycle. Normally at this point we want to let pressure have a couple 3 minutes to work. We can go clean the other side of the windshield, start filling out your ticket book. If you see somebody, hand them a business card, start soliciting more work. But give this thing a couple of minutes at this time. Now, to inspect this brake, to see if there's any air down in it, we need to go to vacuum. There's 2 ways to go to vacuum with this unit. One, we can loosen the cam lock and pull the rod up about twice the height of the spring here. We look in here, and if there's any air left, we've stretched it, made it easier to see, and we know we're going to have to go back down under pressure again and try to work it out. Normally, you will have to go down on pressure and vacuum a few times. To do that, you just go down with your rod, and as you start to get close to the spring, slow down. Then as you start to compress the spring slightly, you'll be making pressure to force the resin out. Again, don't overpressure. Let a little time help. To make vacuum, pull up. You can go to pressure, vacuum, that quickly. You can lock it off under vacuum if you want to. It'll hold the vacuum to help get a little drop of air over and out the brake. Or if you wish, and to make a stronger vacuum, all we have to do is take the plunger, spin it up to 3/8 of an inch, and we can use the vacuum pump again. Normally, with the plunger down at the 3/16 inch, the vacuum pump outside is eliminated. Okay, this brake looks pretty good. Didn't see any air whenever I was looking under vacuum. We'd normally review the mirror. Take your eyes all the way around, making sure that you don't see any air from a different angle. And we're ready to cure this brake.